We bring the funk, we bring the noise. We are back. It's your boys, Jeremy and Drew. This is the Full Coverage Football Show. It has been a long time. Lots has happened in between our last show, which was our draft show, believe it or not, until now, which is June. I mean, we basically missed the whole month of May. We had illnesses. I got COVID. I mean, shit's just been happening. And in the NFL,
better, man? You feeling better?
I'm feeling better. I'm glad to be back on the show.
Good.
And in the NFL, shit's happening every day. This has been the longest offseason that I can remember because before the show here, I signed on to Twitter on my computer, which I have not done in God knows how long. Had to remember my password, couldn't figure it out. Finally figured it out. So I checked my searches. The last time I searched something on Twitter on my computer, I searched Malik McDowell. Malik McDowell was the Browns defensive tackle who basically went crazy and got naked and ran all around Florida in January.
That's right.
And that was this offseason. It's insane. And now it's the offseason of Deshaun Watson, who we will talk about in depth. But let's start with some breaking news. We're back. That's our breaking news. Drew, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing well, man. It's been a while. It's going to feel good to talk a little bit of football. To your point, like, listen, man, the offseason, this is why the NFL is king, right? Like, even though the NBA playoffs are going on and the Major League Baseball, the NHL playoffs, it's still all football all the time. I mean, shit, when we were here last time, I don't even remember what was going on. Like, we've missed a lot. There's been a lot that's happened.
And I'm sure
and I don't think that we can chronicle all of it. We'd be here for 2 days. But I'm definitely looking forward to talking some football and glad to be back, man.
We also got some real breaking news, and it is good to be back. It's good to talk to you. And there's breaking news from the Rams and their bottomless pit of salary cap money. The Rams earlier this week signed legendary defensive tackle, maybe best player in all of football, regardless of position, to a 3-year, $95 million extension in Aaron Donald, that is. And now today, they're like, hey, you know what? We still somehow have more cap space than the Houston Texans, who have 1/75th of the talent we have on our roster, a roster that won a Super Bowl last year, and then went out and added Allen Robinson, who has never played with a quarterback worth a damn, and now gets to play with Matt Stafford, who's pretty solid. And they go and add a legendary linebacker in Bobby Wagner, who, yes, he's on the downside of his career, but he still plays pretty damn good football. And then today they sign their number one wide receiver, Mr. Cooper Kupp, to a 3-year extension with $75 million guaranteed. Drew, you're a big Rams guy here. I know this is big for you.
Yeah.
What do you think about Cooper Kupp getting paid?
I mean, I was saying to you earlier, and listen, they're going to sign Odell Beckham again too. I just want to know how much money is stuffed under grandma's mattress. Like, it's aggravating to me as a Lions fan to watch them win the Super Bowl with the quarterback that I've rooted for a decade.
Detroit developed.
Yeah, and then also lose like draft position. And then they turn around and they get better in the offseason, in an offseason that they were headed in with real cap concerns. And all they've done is just extend players to the tune of Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, to your point, the free agent signings. It's like, enough's enough, dude. And I know we talk salary a lot. And it's like, yeah, I get that you can put in player bonuses and there's way to front load, back load the money. I get all that, but come on, like, where is it? Like, whatever they're doing over there, the Rams are doing it right, and it's wild. I just don't understand how they continue to sign player after player. And these aren't just nickel and dime, signings. These are big time football players. So again, it's aggravating to me, especially as the team that owns its first round pick again this year, that they just continue to put forth a fantastic roster and actually improve it. It's aggravating, and the salary cap is a farce.
It seems like that. But what you look at, like the reason I mentioned the Texans and the fact that the Texans currently have less cap space somehow than the Rams. Dead money is a big deal. When you make these signings, when you sign these players to these massive deals, if they don't work out, you face so much dead money. When you have draft capital that doesn't work out, you face so much dead money. The Rams, the players they've signed, the players they've re-signed, the draft picks they've had, they have made the most of it, which has allowed them to really factor in their cap and keep it on schedule. When we look at the teams we've rooted for our entire lives, they make big signings where we've both signed Jamie Collins at some point to a decent amount of money, and we're probably still paying dead money to Jamie Collins. The Rams, on the other hand, haven't had that issue yet. It is bound to catch up with them eventually. You would think. We've been saying, hey, eventually a first-round pick would be nice
We
for this
also
football
say
team.
Like, give me a Super Bowl. I don't give a shit about the rest. If we suck for 30 years, we've sucked for 60. So what does it matter? Right?
And that's exactly
I love the aggressiveness. It irritates me.
Understandable, because we've rooted for teams that have tried everything and failed. They've tried to copy everybody's mold and failed. And now you've got Les Snead who goes out there and he's like, you build through the draft, yeah. But I can build through the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth rounds where I get a guy like Jordan Fuller who's a team captain playing safety in the sixth round, and people are missing picks like second-round safeties like Grant Delpit right now for the Browns. We don't know what this guy is. I hate to keep going back to our teams, but our teams have basically been the bottom feeders and the poster children for inept franchises for the longest time. So Les Snead goes out there to LA and he says, I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to try things a little different, and it's worked out. Whether it was Goff, whether it's Stafford.
Though, in that is players now, and for the Rams, became available that normally don't become available.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Stafford's don't become available.
No.
Right? Jalen Ramsey's don't become available. Like they've gone out, they've made the aggressive moves, but I think it's kind of the way that as we've seen, Tyreek Hill being dealt, Devontae Adams being dealt, like there's big time chips that are moving now. And I know that like Stafford wasn't a free agent, but at the same time, like the league's moving into almost like, I don't want to say like NBA type, but it does seem that way. Like where people are kind of pushing their ways to where they want to go, and they'll get there, right? And Stafford asked for a trade, but like again, these type of players don't become available in free agency or through trade. Like those are blue chip players, and so it's wild that they were able to get a quarterback that they could literally plug in year one and get it done.
For the longest time in the NFL, you hardly saw trades. That's why trades like the Herschel Walker trade back in the in 1989. I mean, trades like that was a big deal. Oh my God, a player got traded. You don't see that many trades. Sure. You'd see like, okay, this guy's not working out here, we'll deal him. It was never the stars. It was rare that we saw this. And when you bring up the NBA, that's why the NBA trade deadline is the most exciting of all the trade deadlines, because stars can move mid-season, or at least really good role players can move mid-season. And in the NFL, we don't always see that in mid-season, but you're starting to see it in the offseason. And like you said at the beginning of the show, NFL is king for a reason. It's because every day there's something to talk about. And unfortunately, most of this offseason, we've had a lot of really bad days. And today was another one of those days for NFL offseason fun. Now, we were going to come into the show and we were going to open up with Deshaun Watson. I've been digging deep into some Deshaun Watson news. I've gotten some experts' opinions, a former teammate of his who chose to stay anonymous. All this in-depth Deshaun Watson, we are going to move to next week when we do our AFC North preview. So next Wednesday night, we'll have our Deshaun Watson in-depth whole conversation talk, whatever you want to call it, as well as our AFC North preview tonight. You got our AFC West or AFC East preview, but we're still going to talk a little bit about Deshaun Watson because he's basically covering everything. Anytime you think NFL, something with Deshaun Watson has happened. Yesterday, a New York Times article came out where it was alleged that he has now seen 66 massage therapists in 17 months, which I don't know about you, but that sounds a little excessive. And a 24th woman has now come onto the scene as another woman with a civil suit against him. And now tonight, the reason we changed this Deshaun Watson thing is because Tony Busby, the lawyer for these women for, I believe, 20 of the 24, if I am 100% correct. I don't have my notes. They are still downstairs. However, Tony Busby is now named the Houston Texans as a defendant in this lawsuit against Deshaun Watson, and he is now joining the Texans, giving the Texans another L. You're going to sue the Texans for allegedly allowing Deshaun Watson to carry on this behavior by giving him a membership to the Houstonian Hotel.
Right.
And we'll see what other information comes out so we can have this full info and go fully in depth with experts and whatever we need to do for next week. But let's just get this off the table real quick. What do you think about all this going on with Watson right now?
It stinks, man. I feel for Browns fans. Like I probably know more Browns fans than Lions fans, right? Like that's where I live, and like these are the people that I surround myself with. It sucks. Like, yeah, maybe. Wish I had some like Tampa Bay or Patriots friends, but I don't. But no, it sucks because like from a football perspective, it sucks for those fans. Now at the same time, it just seems to be every day there's something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's something that, and you can make counterpoints, right? Like I know people were under the conspiracy that the Texans may have tried to, I mean, but that seems so far fetched at the point that we're at, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe them giving him access to the specific hotel or whatnot is kind of a bad thing, but at the same time, I think like we're you say 66 visits in a 17-month period. That just doesn't seem normal to me, right? Like that doesn't seem like I don't even know 66 people. Like the fact that it's a red flag that it was that many people, right? Like if it was like a good masseuse and you're in the specific area for an extended period of time, like he was in Houston, you would think that like the same person would kind of be utilized over and over and over. So that part's weird. But it's like at this point, I don't want to take a side or not. Of course, we want to kind of be as away from it as we can, but still speak about it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's tough, right? Because you want to talk about it on a football show from football perspective. Football perspective, it sucks for the league because it's going to be 2 years out of the league for Deshaun Watson, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. Again, there's between this today and next Wednesday, there will be a plethora of things that come out that we'll be able to sit here and discuss. But at this point, it's just every day you pull up a new article and you read it, and it's not good, right? And it's I know that these are civil cases, so there's no criminal case right now that he's going to be charged with. But at the same time, man, when there's smoke, there's fire. And so there's a shitload of smoke, right? Like this is looking like California during the wildfires where there was just like smoke everywhere. So I just want it to be resolved. Like I want to stop hearing about it because at some point it's fascinating to the NFL and the perspective of what we're looking at, but it's also very depressing and kind of fucked up, for lack of a better term. So the sooner it's cleared and we don't have to sit here and discuss that anymore, I'm all for that.
I'm with you. And, as a Browns fan, before he was traded, I didn't want him here. I said that when he decided he didn't want to come here the day before he actually was traded to Cleveland, I said I didn't want him here. And it was because I wanted my kids to be able to root for this team and still feel good about it. Now he's in Cleveland, and he's my quarterback, regardless of whether I agree with this shit or not, or whether I'm on his side or against him or whatever. Like you said, we're trying to be fair and open with this. It's obviously a football show. It's not something we love to talk about, sexual allegations, but it is part of the league and what's going on right now, and it's dominating headlines. And when you look at this, you said 2 years, and it's possible that could happen because Major League Baseball made an absolute point that they didn't want to see this stuff.
When I say 2 years, I mean last
Okay.
year and this year, right?
And
now like 2 years from now.
Okay.
So 2 years total.
And maybe they see it that way. Maybe that's what they do. However, the way the NFL works is usually they want to see more of a criminal case happen. I mean, if we look at this, Antonio Brown was allegedly involved in a rape, and he got 8 games when you mixed other things included. That's all alleged. It was never brought up in criminal court, so he got 8 games. Roethlisberger back in the day, who everyone now suddenly loves and forgets everything he did, he got 6 games. It was appealed down to 4. Maybe Watson gets 6, maybe he gets more. All that doesn't matter right now because right now, this dude obviously has some kind of issue. You said it, where there's smoke, there's fire. And he has put himself in this situation. Whether he is guilty of every single one of these alleged acts, nobody knows that. We don't know that. Only the people in that room know exactly what went on. But when you put yourself out there for 66 different women and you have exposed yourself to at least allegedly a third of them in
That's
some way,
on you,
shape, or
bro.
form.
That's on
Yeah,
you then.
that
Even if
is.
nothing happened, like you set yourself up by being fucking weird.
Yeah. Where the alleged story yesterday, I don't know if I still have this saved. I sent you the screenshot, I
It wasn't
believe.
great. Wasn't ideal,
It
right?
was
Wasn't an ideal
not.
situation. Um, again though, dude, like, do I think that all 24 people are probably right? Maybe not. No, right?
Mhm.
Because we've seen these stories before, and
Yes.
and people come out and they're probably legitimate arguments, legitimate
Mhm.
allegations, and then there's people that see that and they see, what can I get from this? I've had given Deshaun Watson a massage, whether it turned into whatever it did. So there's probably not all 24 are probably telling the truth, but
Mhm.
to me it's like shit, man. When there's 24 people and they say that they could come out with more, it's like, yeah, this guy did something and it's not great.
And when you look at this, you put yourself in this situation because 66, dude, in 17
Creep.
months. And you're sending these text messages that you want to support black businesses. Awesome. You got the money to do it. You're trying to look like a good guy. But when you're going into these situations, like, hey, he's a good guy. I'm really excited about this. And then you do this kind of thing. Then you're going in baby yoga pose so you can get your taint massaged. And yeah, maybe they're not 100% true. It becomes looking at it as, can you prove these in court? No. When you look at it criminally, probably not going to be able to prove it because it's a he said, she said situation. And in a he said, she said situation, you're not getting enough evidence to prove it in court. So what it comes down to is these civil suits, how much evidence comes out that is similar and shows a pattern and history of what he's doing. And I think the NFL goes from there. And I would say a month from today, we're going to find out what the suspension is. I'm actually going to say it by July 8th. We will know what the suspension is. And our boy at Detroit Beast, who hasn't been on the show in a while, we haven't talked to him in a while, but we're going to have him come on soon. Let me clear my
Good dude.
throat here. Okay. Yeah, one of our favorite dudes, big friend of the show, big fan of his. If you're not following him, I don't know what's wrong with you, at Detroit Beast on Twitter. He tweeted out right before the show started, I noticed this. Realistically, how far will this Watson trade set the Browns back? Basically just lit 3 first-round selections on fire, not to mention $230 million guaranteed. He says he's thinking 8 to 10 years. Now, as someone who's covered the Browns, been a fan of the Browns my entire life, this trade, lighting 3 first-round picks on fire, Browns do that in single drafts, baby. Like, this is what they do.
Right.
And if this doesn't work out, if he does get, 2 more years or at least another year, if things don't work out, thankfully, the way the Browns have structured this team, they can maybe get out of it in some way. Maybe that contract can be voided at some point. That's so much more to get into, and we're going to see how this works out. Deshaun
That's
Watson,
crazy.
and everyone can hate the Browns for adding him, but know that 14 other teams at least were interested in this, and every other team would have done exactly what the Browns did. So you can't really knock the Browns for that. This is the NFL. We've talked about it. Green is the biggest color they love. They love the money, and when you win, you get the money. And if Deshaun Watson won a Super Bowl in Cleveland, everything would sadly be forgiven. But let's move on to a quarterback that basically, listen, I was going to trim up the beard here before the show, but I'm like, you know what? I can't. Because we got to talk about a quarterback who retired this week.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, a guy who threw for more touchdown passes than Steve Young, Troy Aikman, played 9 different teams, only player to
Fucking journeyman, dude. A journeyman.
and he was so fun to watch. 39 years old, finally walking away. I mean, this guy, only NFL quarterback to throw for 400 yards in 3 straight games, did that not that long ago with Tampa before they brought in Tom Brady and started winning. Never made the postseason.
Mistake.
Yeah, I mean, why? Fitzmagic
you...
or Brady? What's Brady guy got? That Brady guy should have stayed in Boston, and it should have been.
Bruce Arians is out.
Yeah,
we haven't been on this show since Bruce Arians has been out.
I think that was our last week.
Was it? Let me ask you one question.
Quick.
About that. You think that Tom knew Arians was out when he decided to resign?
I mean, yeah, I really do. I mean, I'm not going to lie
too.
about it. I'm not going to say. I mean, everyone wants to look at it as, oh, Tom's a great guy, but there was the talk that him and Bruce didn't necessarily get along.
True.
And it's like, yeah,
there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. That's the trend of the show tonight, where there's smoke, there's fire. But you're right. And Fitzmagic says
love
goodbye.
Fitzmagic. And I heard that he's going to immediately go into the sports broadcasting, so we'll still see him on Sundays.
Does he
I think
keep
that's
the beard?
effective this year. So yeah, we love that. We stand Fitz, dude. Fitz is our guy.
I didn't see that he was going into broadcasting. What network?
I could have made it up. Let me pull up the old Twitterverse here.
But why not Fitz? He's a genius. I mean, Harvard educated. He's smart. He's entertaining. He put up with, I mean, just think of the teams he played for. I think he played St. Louis Rams. He was with Cincinnati. I mean, what Jets did he play for at one point? Buffalo.
He did play for the Jets.
I mean,
dude, he's essentially played. He didn't
Washington,
play for our team.
Tampa.
So you eliminate those two.
No, we got Josh McCown instead. When it came to journeyman, we got the Josh McCown eras.
I can't find it. I swear he's on something.
Okay,
dude.
But what you said, NBC, you just lost Drew Brees, who wasn't very entertaining.
Terrible,
smart guy, but not very entertaining.
Terrible. I could
Fitzy.
list 80% of the people on TV talking football are just terrible.
Yeah, Rodney Harrison, one of the guys I like.
You're gonna say one of your favorites.
He's all right. I mean, he's better than I expected, especially for a guy who I thought he would just be, at this point, CTE, brain dead. The way he hit people, the guy was a warrior out there. But yeah, there's not a lot of Adam Archuleta, not a great guy. Is he still doing color analyst? I mean, is he still an analyst out there for Fox? Not a big fan of his. Romo was good for a little bit. Romo kind of annoys me now, but he's still pretty solid. We got Greg Olson, who's out there as the number one team on Fox, and we'll see how that is. He was all right in the little bit of time we saw him. I'm trying to think of who's even out there. Like, get Fitzy in. Fitzy's got personality. He's smart. He plays the quarterback position. I think everyone loves a quarterback.
Get both Fitzys in.
Get it.
Get Larry and Ryan, because I think Larry is super intelligent and it would be good. And then Ryan, I mean,
one booth.
Yeah, they can come up with some cool ass name, like it's the Fitzcast or whatever.
The Fitzy Boys.
Yeah, the Fitz Boys, like right, like or they'll be like causing Fitz. This could be their name or something like that.
No, that'll be one of those horrible. You'll see the animation come on and it'll be causing Fitz, and it'll be like Myles Garrett had 11 sacks last year and 20 pressures against the Steelers in his career. Oh yeah, causing Fitz. It'll be on NFL Live. It'll be perfect. But yeah, get both Fitzgeralds, or Fitzpatrick and Fitzgerald. I like that idea. Hey, we're doing hiring here for the networks, and they're all focused on, maybe we can get Peyton Manning. Maybe we'll wait for Tom Brady. Tom Brady gets a huge deal for whenever he retires. What? Why wait for Brady when you got Fitzmagic out there?
This money being tossed around. Now, this isn't no live golf money, because that's a different style of money. But this is, these broadcasters are making ridiculous amounts of money. Like when Tony Romo first came out, it was like, dude, Tony Romo's sick at this job. Now it's like, this guy's fucking annoying, dude.
He can be. And it sucks because I was a huge fan, and all of a sudden, like, ugh.
Yeah. Enough. It was like, remember, he would be like calling out plays, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is cool, getting it from like a perspective. And then now it's just like, all right, dude, we've had enough. And by the way, Ryan Fitzpatrick shares a birthday with myself.
Hey, makes him a great dude right there. Shares a birthday with Drew. Got a great beard, like me. This is our guy. Big Fitzmagic fans. We gotta have Fitzy on the show. That's it. Fitzy's the new. He's my white whale now. We are hunting him down. Him and Mike Leach are the guys we need on the show. Same show. Fitzy and Mike Leach. That'll be fantastic. By the way, for those of you who have never listened to this show, watched it, or anything, stay tuned to whatever's coming up next, because we go in with a plan and then we go off on tangents like this. And this is what makes the show goddamn entertaining, boys, because you never know where we're going, because hell, we don't even know either. Exactly. Eventually, we are going to talk some AFC East preview here. That is a division that is vastly improved in a lot of spots. I mean, you look at what the Jets did. You look at what Tyreek Hill did for the Dolphins. We'll get into that in
Jets
a
and
little
Giants
bit.
had good drafts for sure. I think the
They
Giants had a
did.
good draft as well.
New York had good drafts,
Yep.
absolutely. I even like what Buffalo did. I mean, getting James Cook late, I think that's a good fit for them. Before we move on to that, Colin Kaepernick, back in the news, had a tryout with the Raiders. Does he sign with the Raiders? Is he back in the league this season?
Next question. No.
Let's get to the AFC
No.
East, baby.
Wait, what do you say? You're
Me-
gonna sit here on this
no,
show and say he signs with the team?
no. You know, we've been over our feelings with this every time, and
He's gonna be
they're
47, and people are gonna be like, dude, Cap's been out of the league for 32 years. It's like, dude, come on. Like, it's over. Like, it's not gonna happen anymore.
we have been over this on this show a whole bunch of times where it feels like, that it's more of a keeping his name around than anything. Like when he had the tryout and we got annoyed because, the tryout looked like it was going to work. Maybe the NFL did some things, but then he decides to move it last second. And yeah, maybe the NFL was screwing him over in some way. Maybe that's what it was. But if you stuck through it and just stayed there and you went through that actual tryout, maybe things would have worked out. And I don't know.
There was teams there was teams that were there for the workout. When he pulled that bullshit, they didn't go to the other stadium. They said we're out. They headed to the airport. Because you're messing with people's time. And first of all, you're the one that should be doing whatever you can to be on a team. And you're not. Because you stink.
I'm not a huge fan of his on the field. I don't think he's that good.
His
but
last year was a fucking atrocious, dude. It was
telling
atrocious.
me if he was serious about football and people
Blaine Gabbert took his job, bro.
True.
Blaine Gabbert took that.
But you look at a team like Carolina last year, who after Sam Darnold went down, which was okay, that's plan A. You better have a great plan B. After plan A went down, you're like, well, let's see if PJ Walker could do anything. Oh, we're not going to give you enough time to really figure things out. We're going to go to Cam Newton just to bring in fans. Like they had no plan B, and they're like, well, let's throw out plan C with Cam Newton. Plan Cam didn't work out. Like that was a team that would have made sense for him last year, but I don't feel like they even bothered to reach out because
there's been multiple teams that make sense with injuries, and they're going to go to guys like PJ Walker. They're going to go to guys like Colt McCoy. They're going to go to these. They're going to go to Josh Johnson, right? They're going to go to these kind of guys because they know
that guy's got 9 lives, man.
Josh Johnson will play back over every team in this league. Mark my words. And you know what? He can come in and he can win you a game. But no, that's my thoughts on Colin Kaepernick. Whatever.
I mean, we've been over this, and
it's the thing is he wasn't even like if he was like Andrew Luck before he retired season. No, he got benched by Blaine Gabbert, which is embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the end of the story. And then you do the shenanigans he does, and then it's just like no, it's not about the kneeling or whatever. It's like, dude, if he could play, he'd be in the league. We talk about people that are murdering people. Like if he could play, he'd be on the team. Nobody gives a shit about the kneeling
in our lifetimes. And we're getting old, but we ain't that old yet. In our lifetimes, at least 3 dudes have murdered someone and been back in the league. That's why all the people, and we're gonna go back to Deshaun. All the people saying Deshaun Watson doesn't deserve to ever play football again. He's out there being creepy a lot of people that as shit. Creepy as shit. And we all know that creepy ass dude who face to face, regular day, he's like, yeah, I'm great. I'm a normal guy. Everything looks fine on the outside, but we know him behind the scenes as a creepy ass dude. Deshaun Watson is that guy, but you can't say he doesn't deserve to be in the league if we're welcoming in people who have killed people.
It's true. It's true. You guys got a little too excited. I mean, again, it's tough, right? Like, so if you think about it, where's the line drawn, right? You have Tyreek Hill and what Tyreek Hill did, and you have, I mean, there's multiple allegations that come out every single. Hey, there you go, buddy.
You know who we don't talk about being great?
Who?
Spectrum.
Your internet. Yeah, your internet. That's true. We don't talk about that. But it's like the NFL. I was just saying, like the NFL's like conduct policy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking up in the air, right? Like Ray Rice was suspended for like 2 games before the elevator footage came out, and then he was like he never played another snap in the league, right? Like it's for the NFL, it's a lot of optics, And the one thing in this case with Deshaun Watson, there is no optics, there's no video,
Nope.
there's no
He
like
said,
right,
she
and like
said.
that's what I think. Like people like once they see something happen, like your boy Kareem Hunt kicking that chick in the hotel or whatever.
Yep.
People see stuff on, and then they're really upset. But yeah, that's all I got.
You're 100%
AFC
right. And don't forget that Ray Lewis killed 2 people.
Kill the guy. It's true.
And people look at him as the legend he is, and he's on TV, and everything's fine. Where's the white suit at, Ray? Anyway, now it is time for our offseason
You mean the
preview.
orange suit?
Is that what color it was? I didn't remember. It was white suit.
No, I was
Yeah,
just
orange.
thinking the
I got
suit.
you. Oh man, I am slow as hell. I'm like Spectrum internet slow on that joke. That was a quality joke.
It really wasn't that quality, but I'd appreciate it if you would have fucking picked up on it. But
it's been a while, man. It's been a while. It's been too long.
The chemistry's not there.
God damn, I blew that one. You just said it, laid it up there. You went John Stockton, and I went Karl Malone and just blew the bunny. I decided to jump off in the middle of the finals and go join the NWO.
Bank ain't open on Sundays, Carl.
Oh, man. Karl Malone. Legendary NWO member from 90s wrestling. Anyway, back to the AFC East.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. When you look at what the Bills did, they didn't just stand pat after losing to the Chiefs in the divisional round. They finally got a running back possibly who may be able to do a little bit of everything. They got Devin Singletary, who was, solid in a backup role, never really got the chance to be the man, never showed anything as a man. And now you're like, okay, James Cook can do a little bit of everything. Dalvin Cook's brother, obviously skills in the family. They replaced Cole Beasley with Jamison Crowder, who I think is better than Cole Beasley.
But maybe not for that role. I think Cole Beasley is a very good slot player.
He is. But I think Jamison, when he's at his best, which I think he can be in this offense, I think Jamison's a far superior player. I mean, when you look at what they did, they added O.J. Howard on a low-risk signing, a guy who can block, who maybe can finally turn into that pass catcher we all wanted to be.
Yeah,
we've all been waiting for this since O.J. Howard was drafted in 1974.
Yeah. He played at Alabama with a 1-bar mask, right? And this dude still hasn't made it yet.
He played at Alabama with Joe Namath. He was coached by Bear Bryant. It was that long ago. You look at the defense. Ed Oliver broke out last year. They had Von Miller. They did lose Tre'Davious White last year, but he wasn't playing at his best, tore his ACL, so they bring in rookie Kyer Elam, who may have a fast start to his career, like something they got out of Tre'Davious White in 2017. This team, they can probably be top 5 units on each side of the ball, but the only problem I see with this squad right now is Gabriel Davis going to step up and be that number 2? Can we count on him to be that guy? And this offensive line, when you look at it, Spencer Brown, right tackle, Ryan Bates, right guard, Mitch Morse at center, Roger Saffold, who can run block, but his pass blocking has always been questionable. And then you got Deion Dawkins playing left tackle. I don't trust that offensive line. Josh Allen has been sturdy. He's a big boy. He stood up to it. But if that offensive line doesn't keep him upright, eventually it's going to start wearing on him. Buffalo Bills, what do you like about their offseason? What do you not like about what they've done in the offseason?
Yeah, the offensive line is I don't want to say it's a concern, but that's where the question mark lies with the team. Now the James Cook signing or the drafting. So here's the thing that when I watch the Bills play, I'm not sure they know how to utilize the running back correctly.
Yeah.
Right? Like they have such great schemes offensively in the pass game, and they do such good things, but like when you had Singletary and Zach Moss, and like you thought that would be a nice 1-2 punch, and this could come back on the offensive line as well, right? But it's like I don't know if they're going to be able to utilize the running back position correctly because they are a pass heavy team. They want to get the ball in the air. They're going to target Stephon Diggs. I do think the Crowder signing is huge, right? And it's just all what's going to happen. How good is he? Because you still have Dawson Knox. They still have, they still have tons of weapons on both sides of the football. It's just how's that offensive line going to hold up? And I do think that they need to somehow improve their ground game and their efficiency because when it comes playoff time, that's a concern. And I know that they essentially didn't lose. They lost to a coin toss last year is what happened, which was rough. But, like, again, they're a team on the precipice of winning a Super Bowl. And so I'm kind of okay. Like I'm not blown away, and I'm not underwhelmed with the Bills offseason.
It'll be interesting to see how that offense may change with offense coordinator Brian Daboll leaving for New York and Ken Dorsey, former Miami Hurricanes great, taking over the reins as the OC. We expect most of the offense to stay the same. Josh
Remember that
Allen
time
was
Ken Dorsey
phenomenal.
lost to the Buckeyes?
Yeah, that team was unbeatable though. And then you commit a pass interference that
In the end,
still to this day
it was not a pass interference.
not a pass interference, and we can admit that 20 years later.
We sure can.
But
we're past the statute of limitations.
We are past the statute of limitations on that. I will never forget that. Sitting there, I'm like, oh, it's over. And they're like, where'd that flag come from?
Yeah.
But yeah, we will have to reminisce about that.
Lord Jesus threw the yellow flag on that one.
Dropped from the heavens. Oh, thank you, God, for sending your boy down to officiate this football game for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Anyway,
God sent Jesus. He sent Jesus for the yellow flag. Son, I'm going to need you to toss this flag. We're in trouble. The Buckeyes are in trouble.
Saved the day. Gave Jim Tressel his
Tressel played his card, right? He was like, listen, my soul's gone. I'm going to give up my soul for this. And then Terrell Pryor stole his soul a mere 7 or 8 years later.
The devil Terrell Pryor and his tattoos. God.
Yeah.
And it's
the devil comes in mysterious ways, they say.
And now we got NIL deals where we have quarterbacks signing $150,000 deals to drive Bentleys on campus, and everything has changed. And yeah, anyway, back to the AFC East. The Bills, we expect them to just dominate this division again, or are they going to struggle with the vastly improved division?
No, I think they're fine. I think they're the far
well.
superior team in the division.
I'm with you. They're going to dominate this division as well. But let's move on to a team that I thought they did a lot of good things this offseason. And that is the Miami Dolphins. They kept Tua as their quarterback. Chase Edmonds becomes a starting running back. You had a Tyreek Hill. You had a Terran Armstead as a left tackle. I like that on the offensive side of the ball. On defense, that defense is still pretty dang good. I mean, you look at Ogba, Wilkins, Davis up front, Phillips, Baker, Van Ginkel, and I mean, you got Howard, Jones, Holland, and the other Jones, Brandon Jones, as your defensive backfield. I mean, they are a good team on the defensive backside, but now it is a little different because you went from what you had in Brian Flores to now
my guy,
Mike is coaching. Mike McDaniel is there. They also signed Raheem Mostert, but Mostert's not going to be the starting back most likely. And the reason I'll look at that and say that is because, Chase Edmonds got 6.1 guaranteed, and now Mostert gets $1 million guaranteed. They've also got Myles Gaskin. They signed Sony Michel. They added Connor Williams as well. I forgot about that. That offensive line has improved. And this team, it all comes down to one guy, in my opinion, and that guy, it's Tua. What are you going to get out of Tua?
Why they got so many running backs, bro? If you have 46 running backs, do you have a running back? That's the $1 million.
They're all the same guy to me.
They are. They're not. They're all just.
It's the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah,
they're all pointing at each other
with like 10 guys in the room just shooting it at each other. Yeah, it's again, like if you need to bring in 10 backs into camp, you don't have a back.
I like Chase Edmonds, but I also like Raheem Mostert, and I feel like they're both just dudes.
Well, you know, Mike McDaniel loves Raheem Mostert too. Like that's why Raheem Mostert's there.
And Myles Gaskin, who 2 years ago was really good, out of the backfield, catching the ball. He was running up the gut. Things were working out. And all of a sudden you're like,
disaster, though.
Yeah, they went away from it last year. Things switched up. And then you're like, oh, let's bring in Sony Michel as well. But really,
can Tua do it, though?
I think what it comes down to this year is they're going to do a short passing game.
Oh, they got
Waddle. You've got the guys.
Dink and dunk.
You got Waddle. You got Hill. Exactly. I think it's going to be a bunch of screens. You're going to see little chip routes. You're going to see a lot of that. And these guys are going to get yak yards out the wazoo.
I don't know about you, but I saw Tua throw a bomb to Tyreek Hill right in the breadbasket on Twitter a few weeks ago.
I mean, if he was no one rushing, I believe it. I mean, this is the season.
They got killed the Dolphins got killed for that tweet. Did you see it?
Yeah, the one where he dropped it. It was like 5 yards short.
Yeah, the one Tyreek Hill had to take a nap before he got there.
Dude, you know how the winds are in South Beach. They come off the ocean.
Heavy gusts for sure. Must have got 30 or 40 mile an hour one.
And we are in that season where last year we joked about, Jordan Love getting fanned down by the tight ends coach. I go on Twitter today and I'm a Browns fan. And I am watching people freak out because Cade York is kicking 60-yard field goals in Berea against guys who are literally just standing there and going like this.
Yeah.
Okay, you put your arms
York's
up.
You could have gotten in the 5th round. You drafted in
Listen,
the 3rd.
We need a damn kicker. I don't care if they would have taken him in the 3rd round. Give us a kicker who can kick the ball through the uprights. I mean, the last guy they drafted was Austin Seibert, and I believe he's with your squad now.
Remember, back, what the hell was his name? He got taken in the 2nd round by the Buccaneers. Ray Aguero.
Roberto Aguayo out of Florida State.
Aguayo. Yeah.
One of the best kickers
Seminole, right?
ever. Yeah. Florida State guy, one of the best kickers you'd ever seen in college.
Terrible.
And this guy got to the NFL, and he's like, I can't kick the football any longer.
I could argue, and I know we're getting off track here, but I could argue kicking the ball in college is way harder because of the width of the hash marks, right? If you're really money in college and you go to the NFL and you suck, it's like, well, what the fuck was that?
They set you up for a 19-yard field goal on the right sideline.
The angles are incredible in college, dude. It literally is. Again, the NFL should be easy. If you're kicking a 20-yard field goal in college and you got to play it kind of 45 degrees, it's it's a tough shot. It's a tough kick.
Is Miami the second best team in this division, or are we still not to the second best team in this division?
Yes, they are.
I am with you there. And we're going to continue on to the next team in this division. That is the New England Patriots, led by Mac Jones, who is pretty solid as a rookie last year. I mean, he comes in as a 15th overall pick. He showed pretty solid traits and maybe climbs into the top 10 overall as a quarterback this year.
Overall quarterback in the league?
Maybe he does that.
High,
maybe he doesn't. That's what they need. Hey, it's the offseason. We can get excited about 60-yard Cade York field goals. We can talk about Mac Jones. Moving up. Listen, I am with you.
I'm sorry I came off strong.
I'm with you, bud, though. I don't see it. Listen, I like Mac Jones. I think he's a solid guy. I think he's a little more athletic than we've given him credit for. But you look at the weapons around him. Hunter Henry. Damian Harris. I like Damian Harris, but do they trust Damian Harris? I mean, you brought in Kendrick Bourne. You got Jacoby Myers. Aguilar still. I don't know how Aguilar's still on the squad. I thought they were going to get rid of him.
Wasn't Aguilar that they had the babies dropping for the window?
Yeah.
Dropping babies like Aguilar? Yeah, that's so good.
Philly, man. Philly is great. And when we talk NFC East, we got to bring our Philly boys back on here. Anyway, back to they drafted Cole Strange in the 1st round, and Cole Strange was so sure that he was going to be picked in the 1st round that he thought it was a prank when they called him. And they got him at guard. You look, they got Isaiah Wynn coming back, Trent Brown, David Andrews. The offensive line is solid. They've got good tight ends. They need someone to stand up at wide receiver, though, to really make these weapons go. I mean, do they have that guy? Is Devontae Parker going to bounce back and be that guy? I forgot he's even on this roster. But is he going to be that guy? The defense is always going to be okay, led by Belichick, who earlier today was playing center. I don't know if you saw that. He was snapping the ball to our boy Mac there and looking pretty solid. He had some pep in his step, bouncing up and getting the blocks.
How's the 4 Belichick under center?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It looked like a young Alex Mack out there who also retired this week. Alex Mack, excellent player.
Yeah, but I think that'd be impeccable for him.
I mean, this team, they have under $2 million in cap space somehow for a team that you look at some of these weapons are just not there anymore. You're still playing Devin McCourty, who I feel like is ancient at this point. You got Matthew Judon. Christian Barmore was a steal in the draft for them. I don't know how teams passed up on him constantly, let him fall to the Patriots. But what are we expecting out of the Patriots in year 2 of the Mac Jones era and year 3 after Brady?
6 wins.
6 wins?
Mm-hmm.
Are they the third best team in this division, or are the Jets better?
I think New England finishes in the cellar.
Wow. How many more years does Belichick coach for?
I don't know, because he's got a great guy in waiting in Matt Patricia, right? Like a guy that can really galvanize a franchise. Like the fact that they're considering Matt Patricia to be an offense coordinator, if the over-under was 6, I'd fucking hammer the under. Yeah. He's just that terrible. Listen, your point, the defense is fine. I have no concerns about the defense at all. And they're gonna play well. They'll come out early in the year, they'll get gouged a few times. This is kind of what happens, and then they figure it out, and then they're dominant the rest of the year. Problem is offensively, they have nothing. I enjoy Damian Harris. I think he's a good back.
So do I.
Out wide receiver wise, they don't have anything. So again, for me, I just think it's a bad football team. And I think their coaching staff's shit. But outside of Belichick, you have Joe Judge out there. Like, okay, so you have Joe Judge, you have Matt Patricia. Like what is this clown show? Is what it is. And they're not going to be good. And I think Mac Jones, the other thing is Mac Jones was held back last year by Bill Belichick, right? Bill Belichick did not let him go out and sling it. I think he'll have more opportunities to throw the ball. I just think that that's not going to be great because I just don't think that the playmakers are there.
I'm with you. And the Matt Patricia thing, mind-boggling. Maybe Matt Patricia turns out to surprise us all. I'm not on it. I thought he was going to be a decent head coach. We were wrong on that.
He's not going to change our mind. Like
he's not.
No, he's terrible. He's terrible.
Anything is possible. I don't.
Oh, Dan Campbell kicks his ass.
And we'll move on to our final team in the AFC East.
Sorry.
He would. Dan Campbell would destroy.
He would beat his ass
until Patricia pulled.
He would stab him with that pencil out of his ear.
Patricia would pull it out last second and stem right in the carotid, and it'd be over. I mean,
I don't know. I think Dan Campbell would grab the pencil first. He's smart. But Patricia probably has backup pencils. He
does everywhere. His whole hat's made of pencils.
Yeah, inside there's pencils. All right,
sorry. Move on to New York Jets and Zach Wilson, who two guys who've been on this show, completely differing opinions on Zach Wilson. What do you expect out of Zach Wilson in year 2?
He'll be better. He stunk last year, and that's to be expected. And you can see the ebbs and flows he went through throughout the season, right? He went from being conservative to super trigger happy, back to conservative, back to super trigger happy. And I think the game slows down for him a little bit. I think the Jets had a great offseason. They added who I think is a fantastic wideout for him to play with.
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson. I mean, from Ohio State. So for me, I like the Jets. I think Zach Wilson takes a step forward this year. I'm not sure that the roster is good enough to make the playoffs, but I think they win more games than the Patriots.
I think their defense is going to be really good. I like you look at Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankin, Sean Franklin Myers, Carl Lawson. Williams, I do too. I think he's a great player. I think Breece Hall was a great pickup for them. Obviously, Garrett Wilson. I think they've got weapons. They're like my all-draft team. Everyone they drafted outside of maybe Zach Wilson with dudes I like. I think this is going to be an interesting team. We'll see what they do in year 2 here with Zach Wilson. And this could be the surprise team in this division where they might have games where they stink it up, but they could beat you at any given moment. I like the fact that they added CJ Uzomah, who I thought, was decent with the Bengals when given a chance. Really depends. Mekhi Becton, what does he do this year? Elijah Vera Tucker, I think, is going to be solid on the right side. What does Becton do? Does he come back to the guy we saw year 1, as a rookie where we thought, okay, this guy's a tank. He's a monster. Or does he continue to struggle here in year 3, or was it just injuries?
I think he's dinged up, man. Mekhi Becton is literally a chiseled from the Greek gods of a human.
I mean, he's as wide as that piano back there.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, I could play you guys a great piano song on the way out if you needed me to.
Play us a song there, piano man.
But no, I mean, look, I think Mekhi Becton's going to be good. I think it's not too much to read into. I also think there's something that goes into playing with a new quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're playing with a new quarterback. His cadences are different. He's trying to get out of the pocket. Zach Wilson, one thing he did was get out of the pocket too much, right? He needs to stay in it. And so that's hard on an offensive lineman, especially a tackle.
Yeah, you got year 2 of Robert Saleh there. Joe Douglas, I think, has done an excellent job since he was hired in June of 2019. Yeah, that says June. God, I got to scribble my notes a little cleaner next time. It's like, what month is that? Because June isn't a month, but we're going to go with June of 2019. He's been there 3 years now. And I think he's done a really good job on rebuilding that roster, getting it to be something that can eventually challenge Patriots, Bills, and Dolphins as a team on the rise here. They're my team to look out for in this division. We're both on the Bills. Hit the Bills hard. They're going to be good. They are probably. Are they the best team in the AFC? We haven't done the whole AFC, but are the Bills the
Dude,
best team in the AFC?
I can't make that comment right now. The AFC is fucking loaded,
Loaded.
dude. I mean, I don't know. I probably I can't make that prediction. I would say no.
Listen, the crazy thing, when we go next week, previewing next week, we're going to break down Deshaun Watson. Let's see our schedule here. So 6:15 is our next show, AFC North and Deshaun Watson in-depth look. We will have experts and others join us to really talk about Deshaun Watson and the legal thing from a massage therapist point. We're going to get everybody's kind of view on this thing because, it's just us two white dudes talking all the time. I'm going to try to get a little different view on this. And like you just said, the AFC is loaded. You look at the AFC North, who we're going to talk about next week. The Browns, if Watson plays, that's a damn good team. The Ravens, who struggled last year, didn't have a running back who could stay healthy. They're going to get J.K. Dobbins back next year. We're going to go back with Lamar Jackson again. What Lamar Jackson do they get? That team is still pretty damn good, and they always seem to win no matter what. Pittsburgh, who I would love to count out, starting Mitch Trubisky most likely right off the bat, probably going to Kenny Pickett. And I would love to say, they're not going to be that good. But Mike Tomlin's such a damn good head coach. He won games with Duck Hodges. Like, that's how good Tomlin has been. That team always plays good. And then you've got the Bengals, who just went to the Super Bowl last year with Joe Burrow, Mr. Swag, Mr. Can't do anything wrong right now. And that division is absolutely loaded. And you look at that 1 through 4 and you're like, is there a better division than that? And you're like, yeah, there is. And it's the AFC West most likely. AFC is absolutely stacked. Next week, we will move on to that.
The AFC West is ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Like,
I think that the AFC West has like 22 primetime games or televised games, like, in whether it be Sunday or Monday Night Football.
Think about most of our fun games last year. The Raiders were in a bunch of them. The Chiefs were in a bunch of them. The Chargers were in a bunch of them. And now the Broncos got Russ. This AFC is going to be so fun to talk about. And that'll be over the next 4 weeks. We will do that. Let me go back to our schedule as things are scheduled right now. June 22nd will be AFC South. June 29th, AFC West. Then we get into July. The entire month of July, every Wednesday, as long as we are here, we'll talk about the NFC. And the NFC is like the little brother division, basically, or the little brother conference at this point. Yet, they still end up winning Super Bowls. They are just stacked at the top, not as deep as the AFC. Now, before we get out of here tonight, brother, anything else you want to discuss since we haven't been here in a while?
No, man, it was good to be back.
Absolutely.
I look forward to next week. I mean, it's we have like 90 days till football, I think.
Yeah,
something like that. So we'll hope the next handful of Wednesdays kind of get us closer to that.
we will preview your whole NFL season, and at the end of that, we will start doing NCAA. We're going to talk some NIL deals. We'll talk about the players coming out next year, who we are looking at. We'll get into all of that. Now, before we get out of here tonight, stud.
Yeah.
Stud.
Top 5 pick.
Now, before we get out of here tonight, another few golfers, I believe Bryson DeChambeau and someone else,
Patrick Reed,
have gone to the Live Tour over there for the Saudi Arabia. What is going on? Are you talking about this on your golf shows?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit. The Saudis have lots of money, dude. It's like so how much money do you pay for gas, right? Like I filled up today, I think it was like 478, 480, something like that. Well, the Saudis have more oil and gas than anybody in the world. So they have these, it's essentially bottomless pit of money. And so they've poached DJ, they've poached Phil, of course, Bryson and Patrick Reed. I do expect there to be more players that are going to go. I think all eyes are going to be on the event tomorrow, which is the first event in London for the Live Tour. But essentially, like, these guys are getting, I mean, Phil got 200 million. Okay. So like, that's like more than double what he's made in his career on the PGA. So the money's a real thing. The moral to it, like the people's morals, human rights, things like that,
Blood money, man.
Yeah, well, correct. Yeah, exactly. It's blood money. So, but again, I'm not going to sit here and rip somebody because they just literally got offered money where they could retire the next day
Mm-hmm.
and be done for their life. Like if somebody offered me $20 million literally to do pretty much anything, like I would fucking take it. I don't care if it came from I don't give a shit where it came from. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, so if you're young and you can make this money and you can go do this thing, then you can do it.
Yep.
The ramifications are going to boil down to the courtroom, right? Because what's going to happen is players are going to end up going to court because what you'll see tomorrow happen. A little sneak peek into what you'll see tomorrow. Jay Monahan will speak as soon as the ball is in air, first peg and ground, ball in air on the Live Tour. He will come out and he will name his suspensions and how long the suspensions are going to be. And then the legality part comes in because they're individual contractors. How can you ban them from the tour?
Mm-hmm.
Like Dustin Johnson, for example, has lifelong status on the tour because he's won 20 more events at the same as Phil Mickelson, right? So like that's, and then now you get into the logistics of it and you get into the legality part of it where it's tough. So the PGA is going to have an issue. And what I predict that's going to happen is more and more players are going to go and play and live golf events, which is the Saudi-backed league. And eventually the PGA is going to get back into a corner where they have to allow it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you can play on in this league and you can play on the PGA Tour. But I think that they're going to get back into the corner and have to make that decision. I think that's what's going to happen.
Does this eventually force the PGA Tour to start signing contracts like the Live Tour is doing?
See, they will never do that. So the thing that the reason that people would go to the Live Tour, so like the PGA owns all their media rights.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is like any video that you see. So say there's a video of Tiger hitting a wedge that the PGA Tour puts out. Not even Tiger Woods can retweet that or that's not his video. He doesn't own that. So they own every single media right to every single tournament all the time, which is as far as cash goes is more than you can imagine. And the PGA Tour players have no access to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't see any of that money. And so what you saw this year is they created this player incentive program or the player impact program, which essentially paid out people for what they believe is the growth of the tour.
Yeah.
Which Tiger got the most money and Tiger didn't play one event. But it's like that was kind of their like cash grab. Okay, so because last year before this, like when this first Live came out, that this was the kickback, and the PGA Tour was like, okay, well, we'll do this player impact program and do $40 million in it because they have tons of cash in the back because A, they get sponsors every week, and B, they have money from this. So it's tough. So I think that the PGA is going to be backed into a corner slightly, but I think the next couple of weeks will play out exactly what's going to happen.
And you can talk golf with Drew anytime on Twitter at DetroitDave7. And Drew, where can we find you talking golf online or podcast or what?
So yeah, Approach Podcast Mondays, 7:30. I got my website, my teaching website up, golfclassonline.com. And then here with you, my friend.
And golfclassonline.com, what can we learn there?
Yeah, so again, that's my my virtual teaching website. You can sign up for a couple different kinds of lessons. I do pull up everything on a projector, break everything down, and send back a lesson, and we just kind of work one by one through the golf swing. So that's exciting stuff. I've been having a lot of fun since we've launched, and so it's been good.
Badass, as always. And at this point, next year, it may be you and I battling for the green jacket at Augusta because everyone else will be over on the Live Tour. And
there's reports that Augusta may be the one major that says that they can play, which I don't think could be. There's no way Augusta would do that. But
I feel like Augusta's always been different, and that's
these
from an
guys,
outsider, not a.
Yeah, these guys can still play all the majors though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing because the PGA owns none of the majors. PGA Championships, the PGA of America, the RNA is the British Open, USGA is the US Open, and the Masters is Augusta Country Club. So
As we learned, you don't mess with Augusta because
You
we
don't.
did one show, said too much, used a video, and I got threatened with litigation like I was Deshaun Watson.
They'll like haunt you they'll like knock on your windows at night, dude. Like, what the fuck is this video? Like, dude,
I go open an email and I'm like, this can't be real. Like, we had like 17 people watch this thing. They're like, no, doesn't matter. We own you now.
Yo,
So I'll be doing dishes.
right kind of thing.
I'll be doing dishes at Augusta to pay off what we owe them. But hey, it's a good time to hang out there. Drew, as always, it's been a pleasure. Catch Drew at Detroit Dave 7, Mondays on the Approach podcast, every Wednesday here on the Full Coverage Football Show. Me, I'm Jeremy at Somerville CLE. And before we get out of here, remember, as always, if you live the life you love the life you live.